By the way, my name is Versatile, aka the Alkebulan Trust, a name you can trust when it comes to all things reactions. I'm gonna react to before they were famous, the Wizkid one. So let's just get straight into it. I'm not gonna try and pause as much anymore because I've got to get through 2 more pieces of content for me to react to. Give me a second. I don't know why my things have done that. All right, so let's keep it moving. Let's go.
With Adobe Express, creating everything we need to share a home fragrance business is easy. Now, every day can be a little more special for people around the world.
I think like music is Africa, music is from Africa for me, because right from when we didn't even have instruments, people just be on like the decks or whatever and just make music, create music.
Before Wizkid would become one of the biggest global musicians, winning Artist of the Year and Song of the Year at the African Music Awards. Before he would drop hits like Energy, Fever, Come Closer, Like This, Can't Believe, Holla at Your Boy, and more. I mean, basically every song he's put out is...
You hear what you can say? Basically every song he's put out is hits.
Been a smash. Before Wizkid would work with Ty Dolla $ign, Trey Songz, Wale, Akon, Major Lazer, Skepta, Beyonce, and before he would have himself a #1 song as a feature on Drake's One Dance. That song is my jam. Before Wizkid would become the first Nigerian musician.
Oh, he's a OVO. We're gonna continue to watch anyway. You know what I mean? We'll continue to watch anyway because we're here for Wizkid. No OVO.
To have over 1 million followers on Twitter. Now, Wizkid is already a massive star, and I can acknowledge when we're late on someone for this show. Now, this is one of those cases, because long before we heard One Dance, well, Wizkid was already performing in front of massive crowds. But it seems like he's finally getting his due shine in America. Now, his new single, it already has more than...
Yeah, I'm glad he said that. I'm glad he said that as OVO. Like, I'm glad he said that, yeah, because let me give him some respect. Like, I'm glad he said that because there is this sense that, actually, I won't even say it. Forget it. If you know, you know. I don't want to even mention the guy's name.
More than 3 million views in under a week, and he's worked with some of the biggest names in music globally. But before all the fame and success, well, Wizkid, he was making music with his church group and hitting the studio on a daily basis, while learning from the greats around him. And in the meantime, the man was observing everything while patiently waiting for his big shot. What's going on, guys? It's boy Michael McCrudden walking you through the life and career of Wizkid prior to fame. Here for you, of course, up before they're famous. Now, we've recently covered other artists like Burna Boy, and we did an epic on Kanye West, so be sure to check those out after we do this video. Also, I got a trivia question for the super fans out there. What was Wizkid's first car? Place your guesses down below. If you get it right, I'll follow you on Instagram or Twitter. Alright, now let's get into this video. Also, please forgive me if I pronounce anything incorrectly. Now, I look up the pronunciation and I really do try my best, but my Canadian accent, it can sometimes butcher just about anything.
Okay, that's why he's a ho. But there are some Canadians that don't, mess with Drake, so it is what it is.
But
anyway,
I apologize. Let's get into this video.
Before music, what was life like in Nigeria for you?
It was crazy, man. Before music was tough, man. I come from Mujolekba, the real ghetto from Surulere.
Ayodeji Ibrahim Balogun was born on July 16, 1990 in Surulere, which is a residential and commercial area of Lagos.
Coming from that side, you can only just hope that, like you're gonna have a better life. I'll pray. Because sometimes school is not even enough, especially for the type of government we have back home.
Now, Wizkid, he grew up in a household of 12 female siblings. Yeah, I said that right, 12. Now, he said growing up with so many women, well, he had this to say. Learn to listen to what women go through. I also have a lot of female friends and pay attention to their stories. So a lot of my songs are inspired by the thoughts and feelings of women. But his household, it gets even more interesting. Now, his mother is a Pentecostal Christian and his father practices Islam. So, he was exposed to different viewpoints from a young age, which influenced him to have an open mind.
I would never, like, I would say I would never change that, because that is something that has helped me in being who I am today. And I never one time had an argument about the religion or what the kids wanted to do, because my dad would be like, yo, do whatever you want. If you want to be a Muslim, cool, go to the church. You want to go to the mosque, go to the mosque, like, do whatever you like.
He said that it was love that kept his parents together, but what probably opens his mind even more is that his father had 3 wives. Now look, if you can handle multiple wives and they can handle being one of multiple women, then good for you. I salute you. You're a brave soul, and you're doing it for all those out there who can. Now, music was a big influence in Wizkid's early life as well, listening to Bob Marley and Fela Kuti, who was actually managed by Burna Boy's grandpa. Then Wizkid, he was introduced to American rappers like Master P, Snoop Dogg, and even Bow Wow. Now, I feel like Bow Wow, he doesn't get enough love in the hip-hop game. He did inspire a few. Now, Wizkid...
Finally, Bow Wow gets his props and recognition. I get it, it's all fun and games to clown and troll the guy and all that stuff there, but he really is he's an icon. He's not even a legend, he's an icon. Do you know what I mean? Like Bow Wow, little Bow Wow is an icon. Do you understand? Put some respect on his name, and he's a great performer live. Like, put some respect on his name. So the fact that Wizkid is inspired by Bow Wow, that says a lot. You know what I mean? And I'm glad he mentioned Fela Kuti as well, because that also is I would say it's evident, but you know what I mean? He is technically the godfather of Afrobeat, you know what I mean? So let's go.
Wizkid began singing and writing his own songs under the name Lil Prinz. Now, the Lil Prinz is one of my favorite books of all time, so I'm not sure if it had anything to do with it, or maybe the artist Prince, which seems probably more likely. But Lil Prinz, he was making music with a group of his church friends called the Glorious Five. Now, Wizkid, he was a frequent churchgoer, and he attended every Sunday. But he didn't like the music that the choir was making and never wanted to be a part of it. So he called up his friends, and they decided to create their own blend of gospel and hip-hop.
Are you interested in becoming a professional actor and securing roles in movies, on TV, or on the stage? Then clean your
hip-hop. The group released an album to their church and actually made a good amount of money. Now, Wizkid claims to have made 10,000 Nairas, which sounds like a lot of money, but to give you an equivalent, well, right now it's only $28 US. But for Wizkid at the time, well, it was still a lot. But after one album, the Gospel 5, they decided to go their separate ways. Now, Wizkid, he attended Ijebu Ode, a grammar school, which I won't even bother trying to pronounce again. But it has been known to have many prominent figures in politics, business, law, and music study there. The school was nicknamed the Dawn of Life, and it's one of the...
You know, it's funny, there's a lot of schools out there or areas in certain countries. You would notice that there's certain artists or certain people that come from that, you know what I mean? And they make it into a certain level of lifestyle, if that makes sense. I won't even say they become popular or become famous. I'm just saying it like that because, like, if you're talking about music in terms of hip hop, you know what I mean? That's where Jay-Z and Busta Rhymes went to the same high school. You know what I mean? If you're talking about like music in the UK, like South London in particular, like in fact, even in East London, like there's a lot of anyway. I won't even get into it. There's just so many. So that's an interesting information to know.
One of the oldest and most reputable secondary schools in all of Nigeria. Now, the school was built with the goal of transmitting the ideas of God's enlightenment through education. Now, I feel like my school was just built to give kids something to do during the day, but this sounds way better. Fast forward the clock to 2006, and that's when Lil Prinz became Wizkid. But it was when Wizkid met producer OJB Jezreel that Wizkid would see his musical dreams as a true possibility. Rest in peace, OJB. His legacy will still live on. Now, Wizkid would spend a lot of time at OJB's studio, and he actually got to witness Phase 2 and Sound Sultan record up close and personal and see the process of creating a...
Rest in peace, Sound Sultan, man. Seriously. Icon, like a true icon, man. I was talking about icons earlier. He was definitely an icon. But yeah, man. So this is why I like this type of content. because you start to understand the artist even more. I'm still not liking that shirt though, man. Like the guy's got good energy, like no Diddy, like he seemed like a good brother to you know what I mean? But like that shirt, but maybe he didn't know what, and I want to know what he thought. Someone anyway. No, I don't. No, I don't. Let's keep it moving. Let's go. Hit the subscribe button.
A full body of work. Now, during this time, Wizkid, he was actually mentored by rapper Naeto C. Naeto would help coach Wizkid when he was just 15 years old and told him about the recording process, songwriting.
That's interesting. He was mentored by Naeto C. I didn't know that. It kind of makes sense now.
And rhythm. Now, for the most part, he was just hanging around and observing greatness. Now, Wizkid's parents, they weren't immediately on board with his music dreams.
Obviously.
Now, his father told Wiz that he needed to prove his dedication by spending enough time in the studio, similar to how his father proved his dedication to his love for women by having 3 wives.
My parents, you know, like I just had to convince them by, you know, doing well in school, you know, doing my shows, making sure that they see from the outside. Like people tell them, yo, did you see what your kid did, man?
Now, Wizkid, he proved himself by working behind the scenes and waiting for it.
Parents love to hear, well, some parents, they love to hear something good about their son or their daughter from an outside source. Do you know what I mean? Like something good. So if they're saying, oh, he's doing music and if there's, you hear there's money in it, they can make a lot of money and get you out of a particular situation they're probably in. Psst, hey, do you? But you still need to have a good education. You still need to have a good education. Because look at Fowles. Isn't Fowles like isn't he like a lawyer as well? And I think there was another artist as well in Nigeria that has another I forgot what it is, but the point I'm trying to make is you need good education. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
For a shot. Now, Wizkid, he went to study for a year straight and didn't record a single song. OJB, he wanted him to learn by observing before doing. But Wizkid would freestyle songs in his head over the beats that were playing in the studio and practice his melodies. Now, finally, he was allowed to record his first song. He played it for his friends and everybody was jamming to it. But nobody respected him as a true artist because he was still just a kid. Then Wizkid, he met Osaji Osonakaho. I don't know if I said that. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry.
You did.
Now, he became his manager and helped him take things to a whole level. Wizkid would meet artist M.I when he was in Lagos, and the two became friends. But shortly afterwards, his manager had an accident and was unable to manage Wizkid for a bit. Now, Wizkid, he was feeling pretty down about things and thought his career was at a standstill. But that's when M.I invited him over to hear some of the new music he was making. He threw on a beat and had Wizkid do a little freestyle just for fun, but when M.I.'s album came out, Wizkid was surprised to hear himself as a featured artist on the song Fast Money, Fast Cars. And it was his true introduction to people as a solo artist. And from there, well, he began.
How did I miss that? I will react to that song another time, but not in the stream, another time. Let me make a note of that. What's the name of that song? What is the name? Okay, it's called. Where am I looking now? Okay, yeah, fast money, fast cars. Okay, fast money. Fast cars. Wizkid. M.I about ya. Let's go.
Hear himself as a featured artist on the song Fast Money.
Hold on.
Money, Fast Cars. And it was his true introduction to people as a solo artist. And from there, well, he began freestyling a lot of his songs. Shortly after that feature, while attending an after party with M.I, he was hanging out in the corner and just listening to a conversation between M.I and Banky W. Now, someone they called out Wizkid's name. Banky, he turned around and said, "Wait, you're Wizkid? I've been searching for you all over the place." After the meeting, Banky signed Wizkid to EME, a label he co-owned. Now, after getting signed, things went up for Wizkid. He was booked for shows constantly. He was featured on more hit songs, and he co-wrote songs for some of the biggest names in music, including Banky, and he began preparing for his debut album. But Wizkid was still attending school at first. He was at Leeds City University, where he was studying international relations before eventually dropping out after he got signed. Now, his song, Holla at Your Boy, it really made a lot of people pay attention to him when it dropped in 2010. And Wizkid, he dropped his debut album, Superstar, in 2011. Now, the album, it won the award for Best Album of the Year at the Nigerian Entertainment Awards, and it received acclaim from fans and critics alike. Now, his second album, it dropped in 2014, and it included features from Tyga, Wale, and Akon. Wizkid's first international collab was with Akon on a remix of his song, Don't Dull, but by far his biggest look in America came on Drake's album, View.
Oh, see, you can't. This is why I've always disputed the fact that they want to say Wizkid, that it was because of Drake why he became big in America. No, it's because of Don't Dull, that tune, and Akon being on the remix. You can argue with me, you can argue with others if you want. You can leave it in the comment section if you want. And I'm not trying to disrespect Drake either. I'm just keeping it all the way 100. And the fact that in an interview I saw Drake specifically say out of his mouth, I'm saying, well, I say specifically, but he mentioned out of his mouth that he's the one that put Afrobeats on the map. When he said that, come on, you're just a culture vulture, bruv. You know what I'm saying? You're a culture vulture, bruv. The way you said it, nah, you didn't put Afrobeats on the map. Because the thing is, yeah, Akon was big in America. Now, you could argue and say, well, with a particular demographic, and I say with a particular demographic in terms of, I don't know, let's just say, for example, this guy's Canadian, for example, with some Canadians, that would be a fair argument to make. But if you're talking about on a proper international scale, I'm telling you, Don't Dull with the remix with Akon was that song. You can't argue with me in regards to that. You can't. Like, because Don't Dull is one of his biggest hits of all time. And you can argue and say, yeah, well, views. And the other thing is, well, that tune with Drake isn't necessarily an Afrobeats tune either. It's not. But let's go.
When he appeared on the song One Dance. Drake had hopped on the remix of one of Wizkid's songs in the summer of 2015 that premiered on OVO Sound Radio. But One Dance, it took things to a whole nother level. One Dance was Drake's first real dip into the Afrobeat scene, and Wizkid, he brought his unique style to the song. The song went #1 in 15 countries, and Drake returned the favor on Come Closer. Now, a year later, Wizkid, he signed a multi-album deal with RCA Records. Currently, Wizkid is making a name for himself on the international stage, and I have a feeling he will only keep getting bigger with time. But it was actually when he got his first car that his dad truly believed in his music, and that car was a black Honda iVTEC. So for whoever got that right, man, you're a true Wizkid fan. I owe you a follow. As for the rest of the story, we're going to wrap this one up here because this, of course, is before they're famous. My name's Mike McCredden. We make all sorts of celebrity bios here for you on this channel. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so now. Check out our hip-hop playlist because I'm sure if there's an artist out there that you want to know how they made it, well, we got a video for you. All right, I'll see you guys in another video. Boom!
Okay. The brother's got good energy. I can't even front. I can't even front. I just don't like the fact that he's wearing a OVO shirt, bruv. It's really like, yeah. Anyway, let's see what the people say in the comments real quick. Nigeria for life from if you're from Africa. I clicked so fast when I saw Wizkid. We all did. Wow, I'm so happy to see him here. It's all 5 years ago. Hold on. Let's see what's here. Someone else mentioned about all right. You see in the corner, don't go. Let's see. Let's see what the recent comments are saying. They're not like us. Hey, I promise you. Hey, listen. Sometimes, just sometimes, you know that was coming. You know what I mean? Anyway, Rough Street Monk helped make. Rough Street Monk helped make Wizkid who he is. You forgot some detail. That's gonna happen. Trust me, dog. What an incredible artist. His fundamental piece in African music. Yeah, Shasha Wada should be next. I'm gonna put One Dance is not Afrobeats, but it is arguable on what song made him an international star. However, he was clear because of Akon International. You just hold on. Had to be there. You know what I mean? You just had to be there. That's all I can say. It's like when you're in the moment, you can see things for what they are. When you are seeing it from the outside looking in, like, because that's like, for example, saying Davido became a global success because of Chris Brown. That's what that sounds like. But then Chris Brown ain't really a culture vulture like that. But you get what I'm trying to say. Like, and I could be completely wrong, but he doesn't come across as a culture vulture. All right, so now